Kilalanin natin ang official and loaded complete lineup ng bagong team ngayon sa PBA na TITANULTRAGIANTRISERS para sa Pba 50th Philippine Cup. Point guards: Aljun Melesio, new player via free agent signing, 5'8", 160 pounds, 27 years old, 4.4 points, 0.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 0.4 steals, 19% 3-point shooter, 60% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Fran Yu, 5'9", 154 pounds, 28 years old, 5.3 points, 1.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.1 steals, 40% 3-point shooter, 50% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages.
Ayon nga sa Reddit source na si Sir Snow Badua, ay hindi pa daw tapos gumawa ng moves ang bagong team na Titan, Ultra at ang MPBL star naman na si Kit Jimenez ang next target nilang makuha. Kit Jimenez, free agent target, 5'11", 165 pounds, 28 years old, 10.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, 2.2 steals, 28% 3-point shooter, 64% free throw shooter in his 2025 MPBL 7th season averages.
Shooting guards: Chris Coon, new player via Pba 4th draft pick, 6'5", 209 pounds, 23 years old, 7.6 points, 4.2 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 0.5 steals, 33% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his UAAP 87th season averages. CJ Austria, new player via Pba 16th draft pick, 6'3", 195 pounds, 23 years old, 4.8 points, 2.3 rebounds, 1.1 assist, 26% 3-point shooter, 55% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Jeric Balanza, 6'1", 190 pounds, 29 years old, 2 points, 0.5 rebounds, 0.2 assists, 0.3 steals, 25% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages.
Small forwards:
Von Pesumal, new player via free agent signing, 6'2", 185 pounds, 32 years old, 1.8 points, 1 rebound, 0.8 assist, 25% 3-point shooter, 50% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Joshua Munson, team captain, star player, 6'4", 200 pounds, 29 years old, 19.8 points, 5.5 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1.9 steals, 0.4 blocks, 36% 3-point shooter, 78% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Dave Ildefonso, nasa kanila na ang PBA rights ni Dave at pwede itong makipagtransaksyon sa kanila para makapaglaro na siya sa PBA. 6'4", 190 pounds, 25 years old, 18.2 points, 6.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.7 steals, 29% 3-point shooter, 71% free throw shooter in his 2025 MPBL 7th season averages.
Power forwards:
J1 Bohot, new player via trade, 6'7", 193 pounds, 29 years old, 1.3 points, 2.6 rebounds, 0.1 block, 57 field goal percentage, 100% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Sydney Onwubere, 6'4", 210 pounds, 32 years old, 7.7 points, 5 rebounds, 0.8 assists, 22% 3-point shooter, 47% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Kevin Abueva, veteran star, 6'3", 209 pounds, 37 years old, 8.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.5 blocks, 20% 3-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter ni Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages.
Ato Ular, new player via trade, 6'4", 196 pounds, 30 years old, 1.4 points, 1.7 rebounds, 0.3 steals, 40 field goal percentage, 100% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Centers,
Mario Barasi Jr., new rookie, signing via free agent signing, 6'7", 210 pounds, 24 years old, 1.6 points, 1.3 rebounds, 0.3 assists, 0.1 steal, 0.4 blocks, 45 field goal percentage, 60% free throw shooter in his 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Mark Sanko, new player via PBA 28 draft pick, 6'5", 200 pounds, 26 years old, 5.9 points, 4.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 30% 3-point shooter, 37% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Cade Flores, 6'5", 214 pounds, 26 years old, 9.7 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 1.3 steals, 14% 3-point shooter, 52% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Dami Contapay, 6'5", 220 pounds, 27 years old, 4.6 points, 3.3 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 0.1 steal, 35% 3-point shooter, 100% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Greg Slaughter, negotiate a contract with Pure Blends for a possible PBA comeback, 7 feet, 258 pounds, 37 years old, 15.7 points, 9.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.1 blocks, 67 field goal percentage, 80% free throw shooter in his 2024 MPBL 6th season averages. Ito ang official new and loaded complete lineup ng bagong team ngayon sa PBA na TITANULTRAGIANTRISERS. Sa tingin nyo mga kababos, magiging competitive kaya ang bagong team na ito sa PBA? I-comment nyo na po yan sa baba.